Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Tonight, I have, well, it's actually not tonight. It's tonight that we're filming it, but they'll see it in the morning. I have our good friend of the channel, Dr. Lena Rodriguez from Tarot Down Under. If you're not following her, you should follow her. She's got a YouTube channel bigger than mine. And so it's Tarot Down Under. All right. Welcome back, Dr. Lena.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica. And I just want to say, first off, I so love our conversations. And just so viewers know, we don't use cards in these conversations. We're just sort of trying to model a way of people actually conversing about things. And
Exactly.
it's so important in this time.
Exactly. Dr. Lena uses cards on her channel. I use cards normally on my channel, but when we get together, we're just two friends, worlds apart, geographically anyway, having a conversation. I did want to say that we have a special announcement at the end of the show. So,
Mhm.
Dr. Lena, remind me to mention it
Yes, I
when we get
will.
to the end of the show. So, we're only at the beginning of the year. We're only
I
12
know.
day, however many days it is, 12 is it 12? 12 days. We're not even 2 week, 14th. Oh, it is 14th.
2 weeks in. We are
2 weeks
two
in.
weeks in
We're
to
2 weeks into
2026.
the new year, and it feels, of course, very much like the last year, 2025, in the sense that at least well, no, I think probably all over the world, that you wake up and you say, now what? What's the next thing? So, you know,
What horror has been unleashed in the night?
right,
If
right. So, if you are exhausted, you are not alone. So, we feel your pain. We are right there with you. But again, we are right there with you. And hopefully, being in community with each other will help us get through what we need to get through. I'm just going to say, I don't think this particular person will be in office for all of his term. I don't see him being in office.
I don't think the world could actually handle
Well,
it.
I think halfway through this year,
Yeah, something will give.
something will happen, and this person will no longer be there. But at any rate, they're here now.
Mm.
And so, Dr. Lena, what do you think about the events of the last 2 weeks? What should we focus on today?
Oosh. Well, I think seeing ice in action in Minnesota is shocking. The imagery is shocking to the world
Yeah,
in every way. And that's before the shooting of Miss Good.
right.
It was truly shocking because of the barbarity of it, in the sense not just pulling people out of cars would be bad enough, smashing the window of the car, extracting people, including a disabled woman, etc., etc. I think for the first few years of the Trump years, people avoided using words like Gestapo and Nazis and neo-Nazis, but it's full fascism now,
It's full.
fully
It
fledged,
is.
masked. There's
Yes.
something very sinister about the masks.
Well, I think that what it does for the person wearing the mask is that it's a disguise. Even they themselves are disguised to themselves, right? So they can be whoever it is that they want to be, that they probably would not necessarily be in their average everyday life. It gives them permission to be someone other. But I will say this. I've heard a lot of comparisons to, let's say, 1939 Germany. Uh, and as someone pointed out, and of course they're not wrong, we do not need to go back 60, 70 years, and we don't have to go to a foreign country to remember what fascism looks like in this country
Mm,
because I am someone whose father was bitten by dogs, who was hosed,
mm,
beaten with clubs because he was working with Dr. King in the South to, you know, bring about
mm.
civil rights. So we are very, this is not something that is new to us. We also have the history of slavery and all of that, but certainly Jim Crow and the 60s, um, those images are not unfamiliar to our community.
Exactly. And even though it was a different world in terms of how long images took to get around the world, they did.
Hmm.
Those images did make it. And speaking of images, let me share a little story with you and viewers. Those of us who are old enough to remember the 1968 Olympics, Mexico City, and the famous Black Power salute from
Yep.
John Carlos and Tommy Smith. Now, a little backstory to that. One of them came first, one came third. The guy who came second was a white Australian, Peter Norman. Now, the two men had the grace to say to him before they went out for their medals, "We're intending to do this action. Sorry, it's your big day, but it's really important we do this action. And we're going to go out in our socks symbolizing poverty, and we're going to do this." And Peter Norman said, "I'm a Quaker." None of us knew in Australia till
Wow.
after this event. And he said, "I support human rights." And he said, "I will wear a human rights badge." And he, in fact, gave them human rights badges. You've got to remember at this time in Australia, we still had the White Australia policy.
Yeah.
Okay. Took him for a second. So, of all the people in the world, it was Peter Norman. Now, when they got to the podium, one of them had forgotten his gloves back in the dressing room.
Hmm.
And it was Peter Norman who said, "Wear one glove each."
Oh,
And
wow.
that's why we got the famous right hand,
Yeah,
left
yeah, yeah,
hand.
yeah. I
And
love
that's a bit
that.
of history.
I love that. And it makes the case that there's always a part that you can play, that we do not have to, any of us, be bystanders in this moment. That there's
No.
always a role to play if we choose to play it.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah,
step up to that moment when it crosses your path.
right, right,
Step into it.
right. Now, this this killing of Renee Good um, was was a pivotal moment. I'm going to say that,
Mm,
and
absolutely. Mm,
in a way that back 5 years ago, when George Floyd was killed uh, in view of a crowd and being filmed with
mm,
a knee on his neck, lynched
mm,
with a knee on his neck, we all saw that. The world saw all of that, and it stunned everyone, and it catalyzed everyone to action. But I, but the moment came and went. And kind of like a rubber band, people seem
mm,
to snap back to their original positions,
mm,
unfortunately. So what I'm curious about is the fact that Renee Good, all she was doing was she had dropped off her 6-year-old at school and she was trying to drive home. She wasn't being an activist. She wasn't trying to stop ICE from doing anything. She was just trying to get out of there. That's all she was trying to do.
mm,
And sometimes I mean, these are the moments that where heroes are born, just like you described on the
mm,
Olympic
mm,
stage. She is a martyr now and a hero because she took her son to school, dropped him off, and then what happened happened. And I think it's very interesting that her last words were, um, dude, I'm not mad at you.
I don't hate you, I
I
think.
don't
Yeah.
hate you. And
Mm,
his words after he shot her were, you effing be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
after he shot her.
Mm.
After.
Mm. Mm.
So I think this has been I think it has been jarring to the nervous systems of white women, not black women,
Mm.
as we tried to tell everybody, but okay, but white women.
Mm.
Their systems have been jarred. I've seen a lot of social media posts. I had no idea. I didn't think it would be us. You know, this is a bridge too far.
Mm.
And my hope is that people sit in that dis-ease
Mm.
for longer
Mm.
than they sat in dis-ease with George Floyd, that they
Mm.
sit in that dis-ease and then they ask themselves, so what does this mean for me?
Right. And I think I see this in a couple of strands, in a sense. What set George Floyd apart was how it happened. So, in other words, if George Floyd had been shot by a white cop, we would not know his name.
Right, that's
Another
right.
black man shot.
That's right.
It was the nature of that manual
Yeah.
killing. It's the same with this. It's this woman who dropped a 6-year-old off being shot in the face
3 times.
3 times, right? As opposed to she could have been grabbed, taken away, injured in crossfire or something else that would still be bad, still be terrible to something. See what I mean about the parallels that
Yeah.
is massively confronting.
Yes.
What that moment also did was say to every white woman and every thinking white man who has a wife, a sister, a cousin, a daughter, thing, no one is safe
No one is safe. Right.
because most white people live in the bubble of the narrative, the phrase, the all-American girl. Now, when someone says that, they're not talking about Serena Williams.
No.
Right?
Right.
No, they're not. They're not talking about Selma Hayek.
Nope.
They're not talking. What they mean is the Debbie Reynolds of this era.
Right.
And that's where the narrative blew up in their faces.
Right.
It can't escape. And it's a reflection of that famous quote from Germany prior to the Nazi takeover is they came for the Jews, but I wasn't worried I wasn't Jewish. They
Right.
came for the workers, but I wasn't worried I wasn't in a union, etc. And then they came for me, and there was no one to speak for me. Now, that immortal, badly quoted thing is America has got with this incident to that moment. So,
You know
what
what?
you're
I'm just going to say that Sojourner Truth tried to tell him when she said, "Ain't I a woman?
mm-hmm,
Ain't I a
mm-hmm,
woman?"
yeah, yeah. But back to your observation and question, will
Hmm.
it have a wear-off effect? I think everything does, or we wouldn't be in this situation
Hmm.
in terms of the hellscape that is modern politics. But it's earned its place to, I think, make people very uncomfortable. And hopefully it's done enough damage to ICE on top of the other stuff and the ongoing stuff. My Minnesota viewers are saying they were arresting Native Americans in Minnesota.
Right. Well, right. And he's decided that he wants all the Somalis that are in the country out of the country because they have a big Somali population.
Mm,
Um, I also know that they're having trouble recruiting ICE people despite all
mhm,
of the incentives. Uh, ICE is also scared, as they should
mm.
be,
Demoralized, I'm hearing.
demoralized. Hmm. Right. Now, of course, scared and demoralized people can be also very dangerous people.
Totally.
Look at the felon.
Yes, 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 yes.
So there's that. But I have had conversations online with white women who have some stature in the social media space who have said, I never had to confront white privilege in this way before. And what does that
Mhm.
mean? It was not a privilege for her to be shot, but the shock of that
Mhm.
privilege not protecting her.
That's it.
That this was the first time that they had acknowledged it. And so I think it's a real opportunity for white women to say, how conditioned have I been to the benefits of white privilege? How much of that privilege is real
Mhm.
and how much of it is an illusion?
I
And
think
who
that's a
set
really
this?
essential
It's essential.
question.
And who set this system up? I mean, you can say as a white person, white woman, I know how I've benefited, but I didn't make this up. Who made it up? And why did they make it?
Why? Who does it serve?
Whose purpose does it serve? Exactly.
Mm.
Because I think, part of this Pluto and Aquarius and the world being sort of turned upside down and everything being deconstructed, this is part of that deconstruction. That, it's fine to go along to get along, but there will be catalytic moments in our lives
Yes, yes.
where we have to say, wait a minute, hold on, wait, wait, wait. I know the party line, but
Mm.
mm, does that make sense?
And I think this fuses in a way into another trope that's going on with the trad wives,
Hmm.
right? And the women in the right wing movement and the right wing evangelical movement and so on, because they've got this duality going on. So, on the one hand, you have someone like Amy Comey Barrett or
Hmm.
even Caroline Levitt, right, who have huge jobs,
Right. Erica
huge
Kirk.
full-time jobs. Erica Turk
Yeah.
telling other women
Right.
to not go to work
Right.
and have
Right.
babies. Amy Comey Barrett has 7 kids, I'm sure.
Right.
They're
She's not
virtually all
tucking them
adopted,
in.
and she's the rainbow family. We won't
Yeah.
go there. That's a
Yeah. No.
conversation for another
Right.
day. Okay, but so it's fine when you've got the au pairs and the drivers and the tutors and the nannies and the thing to then condemn other women
Right.
to not having
Well,
a
I
life.
think that whole thing is very interesting because Erica Kirk, and I think there's quite an underbelly attached to all of this. But anyway, Erica Kirk, who's the titular head now of Turning Point USA,
Hmm.
as selling this line that you just described. You can
Hmm.
always have a career later. While you're young, you should have children and help your husband and da 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 da. Da. Well,
Mm.
meanwhile, there she is out there. Women are not buying it. The women
No.
in that they're not buying it. They're saying, "Well, why don't you set us an example? Show us how it's done." And she's always had a job. She married late. She
Mm.
was something like 37 or something when she married
Mm.
Charlie. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for white women to say something is not right. Did you ever read the book Madeline when you were a little girl?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and Miss Clavel, something is
yeah.
not right.
Something's not right.
Something's not
That's
right.
so
But the
true.
temptation, of course, is to allow themselves to be narcotized and cosseted and comforted and calmed back into the space that they've been told is the right space for them. And there's a lot
Right
of
space, safe
perks,
space.
safe space. There's a lot of perks that go along with it. A lot of perks, but at what cost? And I think a lot of women maybe they think it in sort of discrete moments, like what is this costing me? But I don't know that they stretch that thought out
Yeah.
to the extent that they see the cost benefit analysis is not what they were told that it was,
Mm, mm,
and then
mm.
make a different decision. So we have these moments in time and in history which are real opportunities. I mean, sadly, a lot of times they come on the heels of a killing
Of horror. Yep.
because we're human beings and we are primates.
Mm,
And so for whatever reason, those are the lessons that we need, I guess. But what
mm,
I would say about Renee Good is This is white women's opportunity to not have her have died for no reason.
Thank you for saying that. I think that is so, so, so important.
And I
Mm,
think white women are the only ones who can do that. I really
mm,
truly do. I
mm,
think they have that kind of power in their hands to
mhm,
say, this wasn't right, and she is me.
mhm,
And if they could do that to her, they could do it to me or my daughter or my mom or my
mm,
sister.
mhm,
So are these friends or are these enemies?
mm. Are they there
What,
to protect me?
that's
I was
right.
told they were there to protect me.
Right. What is the subtext behind that overt text about protection? What is that? And I hope that they turn, well, I want to be careful how I say this. I was going to say turn to Black women, but I mean turn to the lesson that Black women have already laid out for
Yes.
them. Because
Hmm.
don't anybody come and say, well, what can I do? No.
Mm, mm,
Just run back the script in your head of what we have said since we got to these shores
mhm,
about power
mm.
and
It
about
always comes
privilege.
back to power.
Right. That's what it is.
Always.
I mean, I wrote my Substack about this. I said,
Mm,
we used to, on the left, laugh about the right, talking about Pizzagate and pedophiles, and
mm,
Hillary Clinton was in the pizzeria molesting. And we would laugh. But the thing is, come to find out, they got the plot right. They just got the characters wrong because the
mm,
characters are not they're not limited to Republicans or Democrats or independents. It's not a
mm.
political thing. The cast of characters in this horror show, now we've clearly moved from ICE to this other thing,
Yeah, yeah.
is power, power and money.
And power is what protects. And money and power, usually they're combined for obvious reasons, buys privacy.
That's right. Well, and still buys privacy. Why is this Sasha Riley testimony? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Sasha Riley, S A. I
AJ.
don't know what it is. Sascha
Mm.
Riley, Riley. Go to Substack. It's Outlaws of Chivalry, and it's an interview with a man who is a veteran of the military, but was trafficked from the ages of 5 to 13 in the whole Epstein thing. This is a boy. Um,
I'm just jumping in here.
mhm,
Trigger warning.
mhm.
Don't go there if your history could prompt anything for you. It's very disturbing
Yeah,
material.
no, what I did is
Very disturbing
I did,
material.
yeah, I didn't actually listen. I read
And you can do that. You
the
can read.
transcripts
Yeah.
and I, little by little, or
Mm.
I listened to people giving synopses of what was in there because it is triggering. But um, my point being, oh, that that these were people who involved in this who are both sides of the political, all sides of the political spectrum,
Hmm.
captains of industry,
Hmm.
um, in the entertainment industry, uh,
Pillars of the church.
pillars of the church, and Supreme Court justices. I'm
Mm.
just saying.
Hmm.
So no wonder we can't get the Epstein file. This is what power and money allow. It's that kind of privacy.
Yes. And nor is this new in the sense that there was the Hellfire Club in the UK in the 1700s, I think. And they were the most depraved of the depraved. And they were all, doyens of industry and trade and commerce and royals and all of it, all of it. The most powerful. We can go back to Caligula and the Roman
Right,
Empire.
right.
This is what men with phenomenal power, influence, and money have historically done because human bodies to them are acquisitions.
But you know
And
what? I remember being in New York in the 70s, and Trump was big back then, and everybody
mm,
knew what he was like,
mm,
and everybody knew about his womanizing and this and that.
mm,
But everybody, it's not just the powerful who were complicit. I think all of us were. We all just thought, well, that's how it is, and that's how he is, and that's how they are. And
mm.
in other words, we have more power than we think. They've
Always.
all right. And just because they have money and they have power and they have whatever, we now have the power just by virtue of our numbers
Mm,
to call a halt to all of this.
mm. And I think wherever it lies.
Mhm,
So although we're looking at in this scenario, and I'll just have a little rider here, with the Sasha Riley tapes, they're yet to be independently verified. And
mhm.
there's just the slightest, but as if that hasn't happened anyway, even if they were
Well,
proved.
no, there's a lot of the interviews themselves as a whole, you're right, have not been officially verified. But what's been verified are he gives times, he gives dates, he gives people, and all of that
Exactly.
is documented.
And the FBI did huge in-depth stuff into Epstein first time round. Remember in
Right.
Florida when it was all
Yeah,
wiped away? So the author of who's releasing these is saying the FBI has files too, and I don't doubt that.
yes.
And that was the real FBI before this.
Right. Yeah, before this one. Yeah,
But just getting back, having said that, this is the wealthy and the powerful. But it's not to say it doesn't happen in impoverished
that's
communities
right.
as well. Let's not
No, that's
let
true.
them off the hook. But it still comes back to power, Erica. So you might be a Southern Baptist preacher, and you may or may not have a nice car, or some of them, have more money than others, but you still have power in the context of that community.
That's right.
So, my plea is that this be examined and brought into the light wherever it lies. So, as well as MAGA jumping up and down, ironically, about the Epstein files, may they also turn that gaze in their own communities.
That's right.
Is the new Jim Jordan, the sports teacher at your school, partaking in this stuff because he has power over parents and children?
That's right.
This has always been the case.
That's right.
So that's why people need to understand power, not just in its most spectacular incarnations. It can be extremely effective in quite humble situations,
Absolutely. And
but it's still power.
and back to the way that white women are acculturated.
Mm.
They're acculturated to not make waves, be nice,
Hmm.
don't talk about certain things. Uh, whom does that serve again?
Hmm. Remind me.
So it's just such an opportunity for her not to have died in vain, Renee Good, and for this to be the bright light in the room that goes on and wakes
Yes,
people up once and for all. Because if
yeah.
people were to wake up once and for all, Trump said he's he wanted it to become like a motto, but it didn't take. And it was America will be woke no more.
Mm.
What?
Mhm. And we know how he meant it.
Oh, totally. We know how he meant it.
But
You know,
the
you think about
it's the
ICE
opposite.
and I mean things are I mean he's having a hard time. You think about ICE, you think about Minnesota. The more vicious he becomes and ICE becomes, the more insistent people are in coming out into the streets and defending their neighbors and protesting for what's right.
Exactly. And defending your neighbors is an important premise because what hopefully that has happened as a repercussion of this, of realizing the old adage, attack on one of us is attack on all of us. So if that means more white people get to actually feel on a visceral level more distress when they see a Hispanic being arrested or something happen to a black person, to realize we're part of we the people. And that's been missing for a
I
very long
I
time.
think I think I'm seeing more and more of it, which thrills me
It
no
is
end.
thrilling.
I mean, I know that one of the things that a lot of Black people decided after the election was, we're always on the front line of every protest. We're
Mm,
always the ones who are out there in front. We're not going
mm,
to do this now.
no.
And what was interesting is that in some of these demonstrations where there haven't been a lot of Black people,
Mm.
white voices have been like, "Where are you? We need everybody. We all need to be out there." And but oh, you know what? Then you guys get in the front
Yeah, see, this is the thing too. If you take the black bodies away from the line, they're forced to do their
to
atrocities.
the white ones.
Yeah,
That's it. And that's the thing that will wake people up. Exactly.
exactly, exactly. And it shouldn't have to be, God knows, as horrific as it is. But apparently it does have to be. Because if you think any parent who has teenage kids, for example, anyone of any ethnicity has teenage, you worry. You worry about drugs, you worry about car accidents, you worry about, all sorts of things. But what white parents, and this is an embedded thing about white privilege too, you're not worried when your kid goes out. You have all these other worries, and there's a million of them, and they're enough to worry about. But you're not worried the police are going to shoot them,
Right.
if they get pulled over for a traffic violation, right?
Right.
That's not what's keeping you awake at night.
That's right.
And now it's a join the club moment,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And
You
that's
know,
really,
what I also think is that I know that for us, for people who are Black, we have this epigenetic understanding of collective consciousness. That's what I think. So, for example, uh, a lot of us grew up where we weren't told things outright. We were told things metaphorically.
mm,
And the reason is if you just said it, well, that can be overheard. So your
mm,
mother would say
mm,
things to you
mm,
metaphorically, and you were not supposed to say, "Excuse me, what does that mean?" Oh no.
mm, mm,
In
mm,
fact,
mm,
you could
mm,
get slapped for saying that. You're
mm,
supposed to sort of say to yourself, in the fullness of time, I'll figure this out.
mm,
Like, I'll give you an example. When I was a little girl, I integrated this white school, and I was the only one there for a couple of years. And they told me that the rate at which they increased their minority population depended on my performance.
no
So
pressure.
yeah, and I'm little. I'm 8 years old. So the morning I'm starting the school, I woke up at like I don't know 4 o'clock in the morning. I was so excited. I had a uniform.
Mm.
And I couldn't wait to put that thing on. And then I waited for my mother to come in and she was combing my hair. And she said to me, with every pass of the comb, when your hand is in the lion's mouth, you have to dance to his music. And I thought, what is she talking about? Is she confused? Because I'm pretty sure I'm starting my first day of school, A. B, I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a field trip to the zoo on the first day. And plus, if there is, why would I be anywhere near a lion? And why would a lion play music? All of this is running through my head.
In your 8-year-old brain.
Yes,
But you did work it out, I'm
I
sure.
did not say anything. I just kept my mouth shut. But I realized in situation after situation after situation after situation what she was saying to me.
Yes.
When your hand is in the lion's mouth, I was in the lion's mouth. I,
Yes.
she
And you
said,
did have to dance to that tune.
or, or make a calculated decision as to whether or not I was going to dance because there
Mm,
would be a consequence. So let's say I didn't. and my hand got bitten off.
mm,
Was I willing to see if I could function with just my left hand? And what if I chose that again and my
mm,
left hand got bitten off?
mm,
Was I willing to be no-handed and just you have legs? Was I
mm,
willing to lose everything but my voice in service of what was right? This was I played this in my head the whole 10 years I was in that school and
mm,
beyond
mm,
and
mm,
beyond.
mm.
It was the best thing she could possibly have said because I didn't agree with her always,
No.
but I had to know that what it meant to be in a lion's den.
Mm,
I say all that to say I'm not sure that white parents have this kind of teachable time with their children. So that is there a collective consciousness? I mean, what does it mean to be white? White is the absence of color. So when we talk about identity, what does that mean, right? So therefore, I think what people have to develop is that is a collective memory, a collective responsibility, a collective understanding of what it means to be in the world.
and I'd like to just develop that thought for a minute. With things that affect the body, which we refer to in academia as somatic
Thematic.
influences, right? Now, how many of our viewers, like all of them, bless them, because they're smart, caring people, so they've been under assault, as everyone
Yeah.
has, with this madness. And people are very free with saying how stressed and fearful they are, how their bodies and their minds have been so impacted with this stress. And that's real. It's happening. You have to work very hard to undo that damage. Now, I'm going to use an example here. This is the stress Black people have been under forever because the fear of everything, for literally from the plantation days right through
Yeah.
modern post-slavery. Now, there was a very interesting study, and I used to use this study with my students from New Scientists, so it was real science. I'd say probably the late 90s. And this group of Black women in Chicago were asked to participate in this research study. And it was this extremely high incident of breast cancer in this cohort. Now, we tend to think from a lay perspective, cancer doesn't discriminate, like cancer just, we understand too, there's environmental issues. So if you're living in an Appalachian town next to a coal mine, yes,
Yeah.
we understand those connections, but not breast cancer. It was seen as the great leveler, and yet there was this permanent spike with these Black women in Chicago. And what they eventually realized over 2 or 3 years of the study was the cortisol level. They were cortisol
Uh-huh.
flatlining perennially. The fear of leaving the house,
Hmm.
the fear and worry about all their relatives at all times of the day and night, the
Hmm.
stress of their jobs, this financial stress, the whole picture meant they were cortisol flatlining, which tripped over
See, now that the
breast
reason I'm
cancer.
smiling is cortisol is quite a thing. It's a topic over here now.
Mhm.
So every other like Instagram commercial will be for things to help decrease your the cortisol levels because it's so dangerous to the
Yeah.
point where I even bought some tea that I drink before I go to sleep. It's got ashwagandha and something else, but it's supposed to help that cortisol level. So yes, imagine that if you're worked up about Renee Good and you feel
Yeah, and all
imagine
of
that
it.
all
Yeah.
of us
Mm.
imagine what that feels like 24/7, 365. Generation after generation after
Yes,
generation.
yes, yes. Because an interesting little addendum to that was um, when the churches were stronger in the sense of, we're talking Chicago, so when everyone went to church on a Sunday and black churches were really strong and formed that community function, that absorbed a lot of that attention, and you actively knew who you could rely on in a crisis and stuff. That had broken down by the 90s.
Right,
So that's why the spike, and then
right.
they're staying at this spike.
Yeah,
So interesting in itself. But I think there is an application to now,
I
because
think there
any
absolutely
conscious
is.
person is stressed to the eyeballs, is how do you manage it?
That's right. And
Mm,
so maybe that awareness just of cortisol and its function in our
mm.
bodies can help people find empathy for other
Yes.
people.
Thank you for bringing it all together. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But also the old adages, like a burden shared is a burden halved.
Mhm.
And so channeling your mother in the sense of speaking in these
Oh,
metaphorical
what do we
terms.
say? We say here, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Yeah, a slightly different meaning, also valuable. We could talk about that one. But it's sort of like if you're not carrying everything on your own, it helps,
It's
which is
lighter. The
why
burden
these
is lighter.
communities are
Mhm.
so important that we're forming.
That's right. That's right. And, I mean, I think, I worked at a school. Obviously, I was a teacher for many years. And in the beginning of my career, the first half of my career, where there was no social media, no, everybody didn't have a phone, the halls were loud,
Yeah.
boisterous, life-filled. Um, I mean, to the point where you just, it was a lot. And then everybody got a phone, and you would walk in during like a lunch period when normally you
Mm,
would think it would be really loud, and it would be dead quiet. Why?
mm.
Has their phone out. They could be talking to the person sitting right next to them, but
No,
they're doing it on the phone. So there's a downside, as we all know, to this technological dependence that we have on devices. On the other hand, it does present such opportunity for community,
yes.
wide, deep community that we would never in a million years have access to
Mm-hmm.
without technology.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Mm.
brings us to our announcement.
Yes. You take it
I love
away.
that full circle moment. So,
We're excited.
Lena and I have loved being with you on this monthly basis. And I know that you all love it because I see it in my comments all the time. Some people will say this is the best video that you do in a given month is when you're together with Lena. So that's nice. And so we chatted a little bit and decided that what we're going to do moving forward, starting next week, Wednesday for me, Thursday for you.
Wednesday,
We're on
US.
totally different, Lena's in Australia, of course. I'm in California. So the timing of it is interesting, but once a week instead of once a month, we are going to come together and have a conversation like this. But here's the differences.
Mhm.
It's every week. The time, it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern, which
Mhm.
is 6 p.m. Pacific.
Mhm.
And if you're somewhere else, figure it out because I can't help.
Yes.
And I'll announce this multiple times between now and when we do it again, but
Me
we're going to
too.
start next week. And you ready for this? It's going to be live.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
we know that we have each created our own community on our own channels in our own space, but we thought that we could use this space to to create something different. Something that is there's so much in our daily lives and in our world that is unpredictable and gobsmacking and startling and off balancing that we thought this could be something that you can rely on. We will be here like clockwork, on the day and time that we've said, and for, 20 minutes.
Yes, it won't be a full hour.
Won't be a full
Everyone's
hour.
got
Right.
things to do, so we're going to do a really compressed 20 minutes,
Hmm.
maybe 30,
Maybe
but
30, maybe
but
30.
not longer. The idea is to make it regular, bite size,
Right.
and just a forum to help you guys process what's happening.
And so, obviously, because it's live, you'll be able to interact with each other, which is great. We would love you to leave questions that we may not be able to answer in the moment, because we will probably, well, always, there will be something that we will have decided this is something we really want to talk about.
Yeah.
But please, feel free to leave questions, and as we can, we will address them in a future
And we're
session.
going to try and look at things globally,
Right.
and it's got a name, World
Yes.
360. Yes,
World 360.
World
Because,
360. So trying to look at things from a bigger perspective. Obviously, everything dovetails back to the US, but deliberately having a look at how the rest of the world is reacting to this, what's changing, what new alliances are forming in terms of people power.
right. I mean, one of the things that I've said that I think would be a good thing in the end is for the United States to become more right-sized relative to the rest of the world.
I
Uh,
like that idea. Yes,
I
yes.
mean, I heard what you just said about, it all comes back to that's just because we've got that maniac at in the White
Yeah,
House.
and we are witnessing the end of America as a superpower,
That's
but
right.
we'll
And
talk about
so
that.
exactly. And that is something that we'll talk about. And another thing is, okay, if we're not that, I'm hoping that we'll also talk about what do we have the possibility of becoming then, taking into account that we live in a world full of people and with their own everything, and that we are not the center of the universe, nor were we ever, by the way, nor should we be. So we thought this would be, a great thing to do. We both speak English, so we understand each other.
That's
That part,
good.
that's easy. Uh, and we hope you'll join us. We hope you'll enjoy it. And it kicks off next Wednesday for us in the U.S., Thursday for you all in Australia, and then wherever you are,
And
figure it out.
beyond, please
And
work it out.
beyond, please work it
So,
out.
the other key thing is please subscribe to Erica's channel between now and then so you can jump on the live stream.
Yeah, so the way that it works is that if you're since we're going live, you have to be subscribed for like 5 minutes, I think it is. But just jump on there, be subscribed, tell people you think might be interested in this. If they don't watch us for any other reason, they might enjoy this sort of panoramic international conversation. Uh,
Resistance without borders.
Resistance
Charlie
without
Angus,
borders.
love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're really excited about it. It's a little experiment, and if you all like it, we will keep it up.
Yeah.
So
So take
anything
care,
else you can think
guys.
of, Lena, that we didn't cover
I
that we
think
wanted
that's the
to?
main thing
That's the
to
main
have the
thing.
launch of the new show.
Right, right.
I'm excited.
So listen, Americans and world viewers, because I know this is affecting everybody. Greenland, don't worry about it. You in Denmark, he can't do anything. So just don't worry about that. I mean, he, somebody asked him, why are you doing all this? He says, I like to own things.
Mm,
What?
mm. Yeah, the guard's down now.
Yeah,
The guard is gone,
yeah, the nurse is
if
off
he ever
duty.
had one.
Oh God. No, no, he never had one, but now
Yeah.
he's one. But anyway, like I say, I don't think we will be ringing in the new year with him next year. Let me just put it like
No,
that.
let's just put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So, Lena, I love our time together. And next week, we will be with each other and all of our many friends around the world. And it just be a
Good.
big party. Can't wait.
And I'm going to let everyone know on my channel
Good, 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 good,
to
good.
see you guys
Yeah, see
next
you
Wednesday
next
night.
week. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon. Take care.